Hey, yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk. Welcome back, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I got a good one here. We've got Nona Manidus. Nona Manidus from Clan HBG's in a platoon with Wick Aid. Wicked L. They're both from HBG. They're in a platoon. I get a lot of questions about analyzing the match and deciding when it's time to go from one flank to another or to go from one place to another. And I thought this was a pretty good example of it right here. We've got Nona pushing in. He's got his platoon mate with him. And I got that really loud, so we're going to go ahead and knock that down so you can hear what I'm saying. And they looks like they're getting quite a bit of company here. If you look down on the east side, his team is pushing in, doing a pretty good job down there, pushing in. They found some guys out in the open, so they're making use of that autoloader on the Standard B, which is the Italian Tier 9 medium. And it's got that kind of autoloader that you can continue to shoot, although it does slow down its reload when you drop all three. So let's just take a look at this right now, because they're starting to be a little bit hesitant about what's happening here, because they've got a Conqueror, T-54 Mod 1, T-44, an FV, another T-44, and a Defender, what all look like they're coming this way, right? They all look like they're coming up to the northwest, and their team looks like it's doing a pretty nice job down in the southeast. Now, there's two Tier 9s here with the Standard Bs. There's a T-26E5, there's the EBR, and there's a Super Persh way in the back. The 705 is sort of droning around, not really doing much of anything, and the T-44 is sitting back at the cap. And right here, Nona kind of looked at this, and he sent me a note, and he said, about this position, we were talking and said, this doesn't really look like a fight we want to get into, so maybe we should fall back. So let's go ahead and see what's happening. And initially, when I first saw this, I went, okay, well, that's what I thought too when I saw it happening. So they're going to bail out of this thing. But watch what starts to happen down in the southeast. So you need to continually analyze this. The Defender seems to keep coming. Unknown what the Conqueror, the 54, did. The T-44 gets himself stuffed behind a rock right there. And remember, the FV-4202 got hammered a bit, and that other T-44 was only peeking around a rock. So they're going to run all the way back, or at least Nona is. And it looks like Wickadell is coming back with him, and the Super decides to bail out, so they're all running back towards the cap. And all of a sudden, 4 tanks are dead over there in the southeast. And I think right about here is where he might have wanted to start thinking about coming back in. But even so, we don't know what the... Oh, look at that, right there. So the Conqueror never got up into that little nook up there in the northwest. I'd imagine if anyone went there, maybe the T-54 Mod 1 did. And now the Defender is kind of taking a peek around this corner, and the EBR starts to engage him. And I thought right about here, you know what? That's when I would have headed back in. Now we've got the Defender. He's kind of watching this thing. The Conqueror is lit. And this is one of those cases in a game where you analyze and look at it and go, all right, how do I tip the scales? We're already kind of leaning over. The Leaning Tower of Pisa has started right here. And we're about to start this big old avalanche on the enemy. And the Defender is able to take down the EBR. Actually, the 54 Mod 1 gets him as he's trying to get away. And now we're waiting for maybe the Defender will come out. And I think he actually gets lit maybe by the T-26E5. But I think back there was the time for you guys to push in there and start just give that Leaning Tower Pisa a nice shove. But we're going to do a nice job here with this guy. Armor's not penetrated. I don't know. I might have gone for the lower plate there. It's not an easy target from that range, but you end up taking him down, no problem. Somebody tracks him. And definitely here, I would have just charged right in there, because you're winning wholesale. Let's just take a look at it. You're winning wholesale over on the east side. And more than likely, some of these guys... Let me get my mouse over here. More than likely, some of these guys right here are probably headed back over here to try to stem this tide. I think it's highly unlikely that all of these are going to push into you, and you've got 2 Tier 9 autoloaders right there. Now, often discretion is the better part of valor, but we want to take a look at these and analyze what's happening. And with the benefit of hindsight, we kind of look at this and go, you know what? This looks like a time maybe where if this entire crowd of Standard B, Super Persh, T-44 with the T-26E5 backing you up, you probably could have beat these guys up here in the northwest as well. And that's when we finally go. So I think a few potatoes late, but I thought it was a good opportunity to sort of stop and look at it and go, all right, let's look at this the meta of this particular match, the big picture of this particular match and what was going on. And you might have even been able to stay up here and just duke it out. Now, had the Conqueror and all of his buddies and the Defender pushed right into your 2 standard Bs, that probably would have been a tough fight. You did have some backup, but they didn't end up doing that. And one of the things you have to remember, what happened early on is you were hitting guys as they were crossing there. So all of a sudden they're thinking, well, I'm not really interested in walking into 2 standard Bs who are going to clip me out. And that's pretty much, at least in my opinion, what happened is that enemy team just got stopped right there, right? They got stuffed. They decided to turtle up there. Then their team lost over wholesale over on the other flank. And next thing you know, they're just kind of hanging out here with no plan. So I think the initial idea to flex, to move back down towards your cap was great, but I think more than likely you could have moved up a lot earlier than this and done some really good work on these guys working together as 2 standard Bs. The 2 standard Bs can more or less clip out anything. And it looks like Wicked L just a little bit foolishly sort of just drives right into them. I might have actually gone around these guys instead of going right at them, but he actually gets a few hit points in here. You come in here with your full complement of hit points and start putting guys down. And nice little job right there with the ram, little swing over to the right, little juke to the right, and you take him down. And I like that right there. You jump out of the way while you're reloading, just come all the way back around. Conqueror is up there with quite a few hit points, but you need to get reloaded. The best idea at this point is to at least get 2 shells in the hopper, which looks like what you're doing there. Conqueror's going to have a hard time killing you, and maybe you're actually looking for 3. There you go. Looks like you are looking for 3. Are we going to shoot? Yeah, we shot before we got it. There we go. There's the second one. Come on up in here. And that's actually a good example. I am betting if you'd have waited just a few more seconds, the 5 or 6 or whatever it took to get that 3rd shell in there, you'd have shot him a lot sooner than you did here, because now you're waiting for the long reload. But no worries, we got this guy. He's tracked. Put another shot into him. He's got 11 hit points. Looks like somebody else is maybe going to get a hit on him. You drive in here, and this kind of surprised me. Then I went, well, holy cow, why is it taking these guys so long to get in here? Nobody's going to hit him. What is that guy looking at? He's shooting at his friend, I guess. That was strange. You guys see that? I don't know what that guy was shooting at. One of the guys behind him, maybe. Nicely done there. 4 kills, 4,206 damage. And a nice reaction game, paying attention to what's going on, and maybe just a couple opportunities there, at least one opportunity there to move back up to the northwest a little bit earlier. But as your note said, you analyzed it correctly, and you eventually did it. You eventually got there and got the damage out of it and got the win. But this one was fairly obvious, I will admit. Your team won wholesale on the other side, so there wasn't a whole lot of analysis to be done. It was more the timing of the analysis. That was the thing on this particular match, but it's nice because it's so obvious for everybody. It's a good example of reacting to the flow and then flowing back when you notice that they're not able to push into you and you're starting to kick off the avalanche. So thanks for sending that in, Nona. I do appreciate it. Thanks for everybody who supports, especially the Patreons. This will be a Patreon exclusive video done for Nona right here. Thanks for sending this in, man. I do appreciate it. And for everyone else, we will see you.